Zoe, hey, we had a few technical difficulties, but we here now. You okay with me? You good?
Yes. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Zoe, we do this thing on every podcast. We call it the over the top intro. We do this thing where we butter your bread, we talk about you, we talk about how good you are, how awesome you are. If you give me 2 minutes, can I butter your bread a little bit? Can I talk about how
Sure.
awesome you are? Can I do that?
Yes, please.
You ready for it? Here it go.
Okay.
My next guest is an actress, producer, director who hails from the 49th state, the last frontier, the great state of Alaska, by way of Hollywood, California. Yes, my next guest is also a Greek speaking Northern Michigan University grad known for her works in Raw Cut, Mine for Ruby, and what we are here to talk about today, Glitched, making its world premiere October 17th at the La Film Festival in Los Angeles, California. Zoe Quist, welcome to the podcast.
Wow, Sam, thank you. I think I could get used to having my bread buttered like this. This is fantastic. How are you doing today? Where am I finding you?
I'm doing great. You know I'm coming from Detroit. We got
That's
a game going on. I don't know if you know this or not. We are in October baseball. So like
okay.
what you are doing right now, this is the reason I like you so much. I'm taking my time out right now to talk to you, but you do understand. As soon as this interview is over, I'm going right back to October baseball because I need to see my boys win it all. Like I'm
That's
I'm
great.
I'm here. I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, excellent. We'll keep it short and sweet.
Then on top of that, you get a piece of this too, Zoe. Hey, Northern Michigan, you get a piece
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
too. You can claim it. And
Okay.
there's a lot of
Fine.
room on this bandwagon. There's a lot of room on this bandwagon.
Excellent. Excellent. I I think by your fresh chair, you are a human who's into gaming.
Oh, you better believe it. And that's
Okay.
why I love this film.
Okay.
Mainly
Excellent.
because, all right, I'll keep it 1000%. You're seeing a man right now trying to not spoil anything.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the movie, but I'm very cautious about the questions I'm going to ask you, Zoe.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't want to spoil it. I hope that makes sense, right?
Oh, of course.
So I'm very curious when it comes down to Glitched, a film I thoroughly enjoyed. How did this idea come about?
Yeah. Well, I was pitched a script to direct in Ireland, so it was the automatic like quick yes. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And the script was a fantasy ghost story that took place in this ancestral castle, and there's the overarching themes were very similar, but at the same time, we are like racing in this head-on collision with AI. And as an artist, I just felt like that also needed to be reflected in my art. You know, I'm a person who's interested into sci-fi, and I'm like all of us, like supremely curious about this conversation about AI. So I worked with the writer, and I was like, what if, what if we create this question throughout the film, whether the ghost is AI or not? You know, whether the ghost in the machine is actually a ghost or is a bunch of pixels, and is there actually a difference? You know, if the output is the same, you know, maybe a ghost and a simulation are the same thing. You know, and asking these big existentialist questions, but packaged for kids.
Yeah.
So it's Matrix for kids. The movie's Matrix for kids.
Makes sense. It makes
Ireland.
sense.
Yeah.
But you talk about measures for kids, but like, I'll tip my hat to you because you have such a multi-talented cast of, you
Yeah,
got
we
some
got
heavy hitters on this
so
cast.
lucky. Oh my
So,
gosh. Like, yeah, I mean, thank you for pointing that out. Like the people in the film are so incredibly talented. Like we got performances from, I mean, just we're just so lucky. Like our lead actress Abigail O'Regan, she's on a series on Hulu called Spellbound. Um, uh, there's we have actors who were on Vikings. Misha Barton's in it. She's a tremendous talent. She's a human that's been acting since she was a child and just brought so much to the production. Uh, yeah, it was a delight. Like we got I want to say that there was like an invisible hand helping the production because we really lucked out with this cast for sure.
Well, you answered my question because when you have so many hands like that, it's just it gotta make directing so much easier because you're working with so many just pros
Yes.
at what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's I think it's maybe analogous to when as a musician, if you're like using a student instrument and you can produce a sound, but then somebody like puts a Stradivarius violin in your hands and you have the skills to play that violin, then amazing things happen. And I think that we got a lot of magic on our production because of that.
Well, Zoe, as a person
Yes.
who had to help their auntie in the last few weeks, I'm just saying, understand how to FaceTime. Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
lot of calls where it's like I keep taking pictures of my hand.
Yeah.
So when you have this a film like this that speaks to the gap of technology, I will say, versus the old school versus the new school, what was it like bridging that gap where not only can this thing happen, what if you have someone sabotage this? And that is me not telling the movie. I'm wording that very carefully
Right.
not to give away the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of touching on some important themes like this at the heart of the film is like this also this generational story. There's the ancestors from the 18th century, and then you have the current lady of the manor who's in her 70s, and the old way of living is gone. Like these castles at one point in time served a function. They served a function of government. They served the function of being a third space where communities could all come to. They served the function of being a weapon of war. They were fortresses. And so they had these jobs. And as a result of those jobs, the citizens paid into it. But now those jobs have ceased to exist. And in this world, the aristocracy still exists in Ireland, but Ireland it doesn't have a monarchy at all. And so, but in this alternate reality, it's still like there's the little kind of echoes of the past. And like, what does it mean to be now responsible for this estate that costs tens of millions of dollars a year in upkeep, but there's no income. And then does she have an obligation to preserve it for history for herself? And there's allusions to that. They say like that she's shackled, like she is a prisoner. She's like a ghost in herself, like she is trapped within the walls of this building. And her grandchildren come up with this idea of having this immersive VR gaming experience in order to commodify the space. And then all ghosts break loose in the
Oh,
process.
oh, for sure. Like, hey, you guys filmed in Ireland. I'm very
Yes.
curious. Did you guys get a chance to explore the countryside a little bit, explore
Oh,
London as it is? Because the shots on screen looks beautiful, but did you guys
thank
get
you.
a chance to personally explore that as well?
I mean, guys in that almost all of the cast and crew are Irish or from or um parts of the UK that are nearby Ireland, like Northern Ireland or England. So they well have explored. We, as with all of these indie productions, like you wake up, you eat, breathe, sleep, and all you do is production. So it wasn't until I returned for post-production that I ended up having some time to see more of the country. But yeah, while we were in production, it was the locations, hunker down, go, 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 go. But it's a beautiful place. Like I get why people are moving there.
All right. Well, after watching this
Yeah.
film, you got a cast of just awesome people. You got pros on your cast. You have so many advantages. I do have to ask this question, but what was the most challenging part? Mainly because it looks like it was really seamless. But what was the most challenging part of making this film?
Yeah. I mean, all in indie films have challenges. I think that most of the time, the it just comes down to money. Like we started the production with a certain budget, and then that number changed, and then having to pivot without compromising on quality. And so the challenge ended up becoming the greatest strength because we had to come up with creative solutions that made the film stronger and better. Uh, yeah, and then we were just really lucky. Like I don't know how else better to say it, but like I would need a
Yeah,
location, and um our locations person would find the perfect. I mean, it was insane. Like it just things would just materialize and present themselves. You know, we needed a crane shows up. I was like, oh, is it possible to get a Mini Cooper sponsors the film. I'm like, I need these Alienware Dell supercomputers for the scene that's like powering them because I like the production design. Somebody's like, oh, I know the person, no problem, like they're on set. So like where before we wouldn't have been able to do as much, things were came like the universe just provided, like it provided for all of the gaps. It was really lucky. And so like our I would say the biggest challenge ended up being our strongest advantage in the end.
one of the dopest things about this
Yeah.
production that I read, like I'm gonna step behind the camera a little bit because what
Okay.
you're doing, yeah, I don't know if you noticed, Zoe, but I'm doing a good job of not spoiling this movie
You're
because
doing
I
a great
really
job.
like this movie. But at the same time, I want to talk about behind the camera. Like
Okay.
one of the things you said, like you were big on mentorships across key
Yeah.
departments, creating pathways for new voices, and
Yeah.
just making sure that it was an economic diversity on set. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because
Yeah.
it seemed like you wanted to give something and give it back to those who want to be in the spot, on a later date.
Yeah. I mean, for it seems that like being a professional artist can oftentimes be the domain of the privileged class, because it that there you have to be able to withstand a lot of ebbs. A lot of opportunities come from having gone to the right schools, at being in the right circle of friends that mentor those communities up. And in Ireland there is I was experiencing like a lot of artistic spirit, like a lot of people who were interested. And it was brought to my attention through a friend of the producer that there was this organization that helped underserved communities in Ireland that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to be on a film set if you're willing to like hire mentor, blah 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 blah, the people would come, and those crew members were the hardest working, most extraordinary people. Like they gave their hearts and souls because like they got it. Like they got how lucky we are to be able to do this really expensive collaborative art project. And yeah, and so that's where that came from. And it's really my intention from always to do that when I can, but definitely looking forward to future productions as well as making sure that people that want to participate in this form of art, can have a seat at the table to do it.
That's dope. Man, that's so dope. Mainly because of what you are giving to the people who may not have a foothold in this business or want to do it or want to explore new ground. That is always so dope. Um, but I gotta do this. I gotta ask the hard questions, and this is one of
Yes.
the hard ones.
Okay.
The premiere is October 17th.
Yes.
1 week from where well, week and some change. It's about 10 days
Yeah.
from where we're recording right now.
Yes.
What do you want people to take away from this film?
I really want people to leave feeling better and more optimistic about the world that we live in, especially during this like these uncertain conversations around AI and technology and these feelings of existential doom that many of us are experiencing, both like as professional artists, as human beings, as and that this is, it's a simple, sweet story that is also high concept, and it demystifies a lot of these things that maybe we're struggling with. So I hope that people come to see the film and feel good afterwards. That's what I want. I want it to um my currency exchange is you give me 90 minutes and I will make you feel better.
All right, and that's great
Yeah.
because that's one of those things. Like I myself, I guess I'm patient zero. I felt good about that, but I gotta ask. I gotta ask. You gave me
Yeah.
90 minutes of creative, artistic joy, but I always ask. I always want to. I love to ask creators this: what was left on the cutting room floor? What was something that you could have elaborated with a little bit more?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, the answer to every question is can be answered with money, right? Like,
Oh,
if I
okay.
had money,
Okay.
like I would have had more coverage, more visual effects, more days, more. Like all of those scenes have been shot in my head, and you are given what you're given, and your job as a director is to do the best with those tools, and then also make sure that you're honoring the audience. And it's like my driving mission when I step, like, is the audience going to enjoy this? Like, I'm asking so much of
Right.
people right now where like their time is so precious, please go on this journey with me. And so I want to make sure at the end they're like, oh, okay, like great. Like that I got something out of this. And yeah, that's the what's on the cutting room floor will be picked up on, show up in other people's films, in future films, and this film exists in its perfection as is.
All right. Now, I'm just being Sam. I'm just being Sam
Okay,
right
please
now.
stand.
I could
Please
drill
stand.
down on this part. I don't think you filmed the scene this way. When I talk about cutting room floor,
Yeah.
you showed it a little bit, but I think after someone like I talk about my aunt, there is that you gotta have that Jen. that generational gap of like, oh my God, I gotta explain this to you. Like you did it a little bit, but you didn't really crush how, and I think that would have been wasted, just to be frank. But there is a generational gap where it's like, I can't believe I have to explain this thing to you.
Yeah.
But there were several pieces of that. I guess my question is this: where was it that you wanted to show that frustration without like beating someone over the head with like what that could be?
Um, yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like, I think that it's a good question, Sam. Like I wanted the film first and foremost to be really accessible to people that were between like the ages of like 9 and 19. So that was like the primary language, but understanding that m many of those people's plus ones are people who are like, we have no idea what the what. So we use the grandmother as the trope, the device as the translator. And then also Michelin, he as well. He says, for us Luddites, for us, what does this mean? He says the avatar went poof, the castle went poof, like, and you have Lorcan explaining to him in a way that that translates the film. And I guess like maybe what you're picking up on with Michael Bay's budget, with James Cameron's budget, maybe more of that could have been shown, as well. Like, being able to like just, visually show it. But I think that we did an outstanding job of threading the needle as this like indie production that stepped into the arena, uh, fearlessly tackling the conversation of science fiction, AI, paranormal fantasy in a castle in Ireland.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
you did an excellent job. Now, my last question is the
Yes.
hardest question, and it's going to
Okay.
be the hardest question. I say it for the last one for this reason. Zoe,
Yes, sir.
what's next on the horizon?
Oh my goodness, so much, so much. I'm in development on a very, very, very exciting film, and I hope to be in production on it early next year. And as soon as that is greenlit, I will. I know the people that know you, fabulous publicist Annie Gies at Cinematic Red, and you will know all about it.
Well, I'll put it like this.
Yeah.
Zoe, you're always welcome to come back to the podcast, chop it
Thank
up with
you,
us. This has been great. I know
Sam.
I'm over time, we're up against it,
Yeah,
but Zoe, this has been a treat. Thank you so much for jumping on the
likewise.
podcast. This is beautiful, and thank you so much for just giving
Thank
us a little bit
you.
of your time.
Thank you. So lovely meeting you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and until next time.
All right, I'll talk to you later, Zoe. Bye.
Bye.